Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, Miss Beta. Good morning, everyone. Today, we are going to present our recount text analysis. Before, let me introduce you to our group. My name is Alvin Rajendra Rabani with the student number M072104, Aufa Mutia India Al-Hawa with the student number M072110, and Asriani with the student number M07210022, Erinjian Wahyu Kusuma with the student number M072104, Francilia Paulina Agustin with the student number M07211030, Kartika Rahma Sulistiawati with the student number M07211036, and Naufal Ulwan Arifki with the student number M07211052. Before, let us show you our text titled Percy Adams. Before getting to the main text, let us review about recount text. What is recount text? Recount text is a text which retells about stories or experience that happened in the past, whether it's a story about past trip or an embarrassing story from the past. Its sole purpose is to retell past experience or stories from to either inform or entertain the reader. From the text before, we can conclude that the text is a short story for children.
And now I will to explain the orientation of the recount text. Just like other English texts, recount text also has an arrangement or structure. There are three sections about the general text. The first is orientation. We got the information about who, when, where, and what. This section tells who was involved, when it happened, where it happened, and what happened. The orientation in this text is Percy Adams lived in a great neighborhood. He had many friends there. Percy woke up one morning and took a long stretch. He had a good night and was very rested. Next,
my name is Aufa Mutia India Al-Hawa. My student number is M07211010, and I will tell about event. Event is the part that tells to the reader about chronological sequence in the text. And the event in this text is, first, he walked in the kitchen and ate a good breakfast. He waited at the door for someone to open it and let him out. He had things to do. Percy walked outside and looked around. Everything seemed fine. Then he went and checked on his friend, Al the dog. Al was still sleeping and didn't want to go with Percy. Percy walked across the yard and visited the mother bird and her babies. They were fine and were eating some worms for breakfast. They didn't even look at Percy. They were busy. Percy walked across the street and visited his friend, Buba. Buba was outside, stretched out in the sun. Buba was glad to see Percy. They were great friends. Buba said hello to Percy with a great big meow. Percy gave a meow right back. Percy and Buba played and played. They visited their other friends in the neighborhood. Next.
My name is Kartika Rahma Sulistiawati. I will explain about the orientation. This is optional closure of events or ending. The orientation can determine whether the story has a good ending or a bad ending. The orientation in this text. It was time to go home. They were tired, and it was a good time to take a nap. The ending of the story is a good ending because he has spent his time playing with his great friend.
Hello, my name is Francilia Paulina Agustin from Statistika Class B. Here I will explain a little material related to language feature. The first language feature, the context is 5W plus 1H or we have question. We have question is a set of question words used to ask something related to time, place, person, object, reason, method, etc. Types of we have question. First, what is used to ask for information about something. Second, where is used to ask for a location or place. Third, when is used to ask for time. Fourth, why is used to ask for reason. 5. Who is used to ask people. 6. How is used to ask the way or the state. Example of using we have question. First, what did Percy do when he woke up that morning? Second, where Percy is waiting for someone to let him out. Third, when did Percy walk out and take a look at his surroundings? Fourth, where is Percy said to live in a good neighborhood? Fifth, who walks in the kitchen and eats a good breakfast? 6. How is Percy's rest time at night? We have question is often used as a reference to determine the orientation section. Next. The second language feature the context is temporal sequence markers. Temporal sequence markers are used to show events or activities carried out in sequence. Temporal sequence markers are divided into 3 parts including first, beginning is used to start a text. Example, first, in the beginning, once upon a time, to begin, to start, etc. Second, middle, the time sequence used in the middle of the story. Example, then, next, later, after that, etc. Third, ending is used to end a story. Example, finally, last, at least, in the end, eventually, last but not least, etc. Example of temporal sequence marker used in Percy's story. First, he walked in the kitchen and ate a good breakfast. Second, then, he went and checked on his friends. Next.
Hello, my name is Enda Asiani and I will explain about time connectors. The function of time connectors is to tell a reader when something happens. Time connectors can be conjunction, for example, when and while, or connecting adverbs, for example, just then, meanwhile, later, then, as open a time, during a very long dry season, in meantime, one morning, after that, and since that. Example of time connectors used in Percy's story is Percy woke up one morning and took a long stretch. Second, then he went a check on his friend the dog. Next, simple past tense. The simple past tense shows that you are talking about something that has already happened. Example of simple past tense is in Percy's story. 1. Percy Adam lived in great neighborhood. 2. Percy woke up one morning and took a long stretch. Next, I was still sleeping and didn't want to go with Percy. Next, Percy walked across the yard and visited the mother bird and her babies. Next, they didn't even look at Percy.
Okay, my name is Novel Arifki and I will explain language feature about action clause. First, stretch on this paragraph, we found he had a good nap as he was very rested. First, he walked in the kitchen and had a good breakfast. Percy woke up one morning and took a long stretch. To walk on the paragraph, we can find is first, he walked in the kitchen and ate a good breakfast. 3. Eating or ate. On the paragraph, we found he walked in a kitchen and ate a good breakfast. 4. Visited. We can find on the paragraph, Percy walked across the yard and visited the mother bird and her babies. 5. Go or when. On the paragraph, we can find Percy walked across the yard and visited the mother, Beth, and her babies. They were Finn and Wing eating some worm for breakfast. They even looked at a Percy that were busy. Percy walked across the street, visited his friend Bubba. Bubba was outside stretched out in the sun. 6. Played. On the paragraph, we can find on the Percy and Bubba played and played. Next. Emotion at the end is on the story. Emotion at the end is happy and satisfied and contented. Because in the ending story was told that Percy was tired because he was so happy to play with Bubba that after a liar, Al and the mother bird didn't ignore him. Okay, finish it.
Okay, everyone. Thank you for listening to our presentation. If there are words that may offend you, we are sorry and we didn't mean to do it. My name is Alvin Rajendarabani. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Miss. Today, we would like to present our discussion about recount text analysis of text 4. Before we begin, let me show you the members of Group 4. First of all, myself, I am Felix, and there are Dian Prihatingningsih, Alvin Agustian Nugroho, Nanda Adi Wicaksono, Nuha Nur Fauzia, and Yumna Zahra.
Okay, before analyzing the text, we need to understand more about what is recount text, what is the purpose of recount text, and what is the generic structure of recount text. And I'm Yumna. I'm here for presenting about what is the purpose and the generic structure of recount text. The first one is the purpose of recount text. Recounts are written to retell events with the purpose of either informing or entertaining their audience, or maybe can be both of them. In a simple word, the purpose of recount text is to retell past experience. Next. The next one is the generic structure of recount text. There are three generic structures of recount text. The first one is orientation. Orientation includes who was involved, what happened, where the events took place, and when it happened. The second one is events. Events include what happened in chronological sequence. The third one is reorientation. Reorientation is optional closure of events or ending.
Okay, before I begin, let me introduce myself. My name is Nanda Dewi Caksono. In this section, I will explain about the language feature of the recount text above. Here is the past tense. Past tense have 4 types of sentence depending on the formula. In the text also use temporal sequence, example then, next, after that, using action verb and use conjunction. And the last one use focus on a particular participant. For example, I, the reader, aka Anna. Next, please.
Okay, before I begin, let me introduce myself. My name is Alvin Agustian Nugroho, and this session I will presenting about orientation. From the text, orientation is not written. So, to find orientation, we can go through with who, when, where, and what. Next. Orientation. The orientation is, in April, Anna had her activities on Tuesday at home and at school. In orientation includes who, when, where, and what. Who it is? It's Anna. When did this happen? On Tuesday in April. Where? Where did this happen? Exactly. At the home and at school. And last not but least, what? What happened? Yes, it's Anna's activities. Next, please.
Okay, my name is Tian Tiatanisi, and in this section, I will present about past tense. The context use past tense because shows past experience. As a reminder, there are 4 types of past tense is used. The first type is simple past tense used with formula subject plus verb to, we make it read. For example, Anna got up early. Get up is present to verb to, get is verb to for get. And another red word is present to simple past tense. The second type of past tense is past continuous tense with formula subject plus to be, was or were plus verb in, we make it purple. For example, she was going to wear her lucky blue skirt to school. She as subject plus was plus going. So it's represent to past continuous tense. And another purple word is represent to past continuous tense. The third type of past tense is past perfect tense with formula subject plus had plus verb 3. We make it blue. For example, in the 6th line, we find they had learned so far that year. They as subject plus had plus learned. Learned is verb 3 for learn. And the another blue word is present to past perfect tense. The fourth or the last type of past tense is past perfect continuous tense with formula subject plus had plus been plus verb in. We make it yellow. But for past perfect continuous tense, we didn't find it in this text. I think enough for me. Next, please.
Hello, my name is Nuhanur Fauzia. Here in this section, I want to present about the conjunction of the text. One of language feature in the context is using conjunction. Conjunction basically help us to combine words, phrases, and sentences. There are some lists of conjunction in this text. First, I want to tell you about addition conjunction. In this part, addition conjunction is symbolized by the red color. Function of addition or coordinating conjunction is to join two elements of equal grammatical rank and sentences important. They can join two verb, two noun, two adjective, or two independent clauses. The first addition conjunction is in the fourth sentence. She had a new shirt to match it and new shoes too. In this part, the first clause is a new shirt and the second clause is new shoes. And as addition conjunction in here useful to connect them in one condition. Another addition conjunction is in the sentence, Anna's father was making bacon and toast. Here, and useful to show two similar clauses, which are bacon and toast, become one part that Anna's father made. Another sentence that uses addition conjunction is in the first line. Anna is in the 2nd grade and her mother teaches 4th grade. The last of coordinating or addition conjunction is in the 14th line. Anna tried to remember all the things her teacher had taught her that year and tried very hard to do everything right on the test, and is to join the condition. The second list of conjunction is sequent conjunction. In this text, sequent conjunction is symbolized by the green color. There are sequential actions that used to talk about action or situation like in the 10th line. Anna ate her breakfast, then she and her mother went to school, and then is to connect that Anna ate her breakfast and after that she went to school. Next, in the 13th line, Anna classmate arrived and then they started the test. And then is to connect Anna classmate arrived and after that they started the test. And in the 15th till 17th line, there are conjunction after, then, and then. After the text was over, the class played outside for a long time. Then they ate lunch. After lunch, they watched a funny movie and then drew a picture until it was time to go home. The last but not least is subordinating conjunction. Subordinating conjunction on this page is symbolized by the blue color. Subordinating conjunction are words or phrases that link a dependent clause to an independent clause. They indicate the clause has an informative value to add to the sentence main idea, signaling a cause effect or a shift in time and place between the two clauses. In the third line, after Anna got dressed, she went into kitchen where she could smell bacon. Where in here is a conjunction that signals a cause effect. Anna could smell bacon because she went into the kitchen. The last sentence, after lunch, they watched a funny movie and then drew picture until it was time to go home. Until is a subordinating conjunction that is useful to link the sentence so the writer doesn't need to write the long story. I think that's enough for me. I turn back the section to my partner next.
So that covers up the use of past tense and conjunction in the text. Now, before I begin, I'd like to introduce myself. I am Felix. Now I would like to talk about the reorientation. Reorientation. What is this part called reorientation? So we can answer that by question. First of all, what's the ending? Is there an ending in this story or text? Yes, obviously there is. We can see it from here. After lunch, they watched a funny movie and then drew pictures until it was time to go home. So this is the ending. The ending is the last sequence of the event. We can just put the last sequence of the event, put it in the reorientation as the summary of the story or the ending. So that concludes the ending. Next is there any personal comment in the story? Personal comment. Who makes the personal comment? Obviously, it's the writer. It has to be the writer. It doesn't have to be Anna herself. We can say it from here. It was a great day. It was a great day. This is a comment. A comment by the writer. It doesn't have to be Anna, but obviously by the writer. So this is why this is called reorientation, because the orientation is the optional closure of the story or text or ending, and there is a personal comment, but it's still optional. Now, I would like to talk about the use of present tense. We can use present tense in recount text when we state the information that hasn't been changed by the time the writer writes the story. So in this case, Anna's mother is a teacher at Anna's school. So Anna's mother is still a teacher, remains a teacher at Anna's school by the time the writer writes this story, this text. And Anna is in the second grade. Yeah, Anna is still in the second grade. The information remains the same. And so her mother teaches fourth grade. Yeah, her mother still teaches fourth grade by the time the writer writes the story. So that's why we can use the present tense to make the readers interpret it still didn't change. The information didn't change by the time writer writes the story. So that concludes the use of present tense. And this also concludes our presentation about analysis of recount text of text 4. Thank you for your attention. May you have a great day ahead.
Good morning, Miss Beta and everyone. We from the fifth group will present our result of discussion about recount text analysis. Next. This group consists of 6 members. The first is Ahmad Hasanuddin, student index number M07210002. The second is Isti Marfu'ah with student index number M07210034. The third is Lola Madini with student index number M07210056. And the fourth is Sani Trisnawan with student index number M07210062. The fifth is Siti Aisyah M07210064. And the last is me by myself, Josephine Octaviana Gultom, with student index number M0721066. The presentation illustrated by Hasan.
My name is Ahmad Fanuddin. I am from Statistik B. I will present about purpose of recount text and social function. Purpose of recount text: recount are written to retell event with the purpose of either informing or entertaining their audience or both. In a simple word, the purpose of recount text is to retell past experience. And for social function, to retell event and describe things that have happened. Next. To type recount text, there is a letter, trip report, diary, newspaper article, biograph, and spot report.
I'm Isti Marfuah from Statistik B. I will explain about generic structure of recount text. First is orientation, include information about when, where, who, what, and why. In the text of the first and second paragraph is orientation because it explains about when, where, what, who, and why. Second is event, include information about the sequence of events that took place in the order that they happened. In the text from the third to the seventh paragraph is an event because it tells what happened in chronological sequence. Third is reorientation, telling about what happened in the end, comment about the event. In the text, the last paragraph is a reorientation because it tells the conclusion of a series of events and the ending of the story. Next. Okay, introduction or orientation. Next. When I was 16 years old, I went to the United States. I was a student then, and that was the first time I left home. I went to Boston to live with an American family for 2 months only. How exciting I took, how scared I felt, but I went all the same.
Okay, my name is Nur Ahmadini. Body Evans. Next. One of the things I remember clearly was my arrival. To start with, I missed the train from New York to Boston. There was trouble. Although the family was free to greet me. When I arrived at the family house, I lost my voice. So nervous, I felt. For the 3 days, I did not say a word. No, I not. That was unconscious. Why to get familiar with the English they spoke. Fortunately, after 1 week, I felt more confident. I started to speak light, and the people in the house began to understand me. How nice and enjoy the second week was. The big morning breakfast, I snack at Lowe's at Loop time, and early dinner at 6 p.m. become a road shop were interesting. The vanilla ice cream was wonderful. The scones were attractive, and in a time, new friends were like the old ones. Next. Closing reorientation. Next. The express was unforgettable.
Hello, my name is Sani Trisnawan from Statistik B. And next is analyze and orientation. Orientation is in paragraph 1 and 2 in the text. First, there are analyze who, when, where, what, why in orientation. Who point in orientation is the writer. This can be seen in the text using first person point and that reference to the writer. Next, when point on the text is when the writer was 16 years old. It is proven in sentence When I was 16 years old, I went to the United States. Next verb point. It's in Boston, United States. It's proven in sentence, I went to Boston to live with an American family for 2 months only. Next word point. In this text, word point is he left from home and went to Boston. It is proven in sentence, that was the first time I left home. Next word point. In this text, why is to live with an American family for 2 months only. It's proven in sentence, I went to Boston to live with an American family for 2 months only. Next slide. Next, analyze is past tense. Past tense use verb to. In orientation, there are many verb to. There are when, the first form is go, felt, the first form is feel, scared, the first form is scare, and was, the first form is. And then conjunction time connector in this orientation is then. It is in sentence, I was a student then, and that was the first time I left home. Next slide. The last is action clause. In the orientation are when. That's in the sentence, I went to Boston to live with an American family for 2 months only. And then left. That's in the sentence, that was the first time I left home.
Hello, my name is Siti Aisyah. Number index student is M07021-064 from Statistik B. I will explain about analyze text, even paragraph 3 to 7. Okay, next, even paragraph 3 to 7. The analyze text is conjunction time connector, is after. Example from the text is fortunately, after 1 week, I felt more confident. I started to speak a little and the people in the house began to understand me. The second analyzed text is action clause. Spoke in the paragraph. Now I know that was an unconscious way to get familiar with the English they spoke. Then say, in the example on the paragraph, for 3 days I didn't say a word. Third analyze is use past tense to use a verb to, was, is. In the example sentence from the text, one of the things I remember quite clearly was my arrival. To start with, I missed the train from the Union to Boston. Verb 2 is missed. Verb 1 is missed. Example sentence from the text, I missed the train from the New York to Boston. Verb 2, arrive. Verb 1, arrive. Then the example from the text, when I arrived the family house. Then verb 2, lost. Verb 1, lost. The example from the text is I lost my voice, so I never. Verb 2, felt. Verb 1, feel. Example from the text, I felt, so I never, I felt. Verb 2, spoke. Verb 1, speak. Example sentence from the text, Now I know that was an unconscious way to get familiar with the English they spoke. Verb 2 started. Verb 1 starts. I started to speak a little and the people in the house began to understand me. Verb 2 began. Verb 1 began. Example sentence from the text. I start to speak a little and the people in the house began to understand me. Verb 2 became. Verb 1 become. Example sentence from the text. The big morning breakfast, a snack at lunchtime, and early dinner at 6 p.m. become a routine. Verb 2 were. Verb 1 are. Example from the text is the shops were interesting.
Okay, my name is Yasupin Octavian Tom with student index number M0721066. I will explain about reorientation. In this reorientation that is found in the paragraph 8, that is in the last paragraph, with found the sentence is this experience was unforgettable, with the past tense is was and is, and the emotion at the end, and it found in the end, that is unforgettable. Next. That's all from us. Thank you for listening to our presentation. Have a nice day.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi everyone, we are from Group 1 Statistik B. Today we are going to present to you our materials from Unit 4 about recount text. So let's get started.
So before we start, we will introduce ourselves.
Hello, my name is Ardianto.
My name is Aurelia Lintang.
My name is Askia Triazulfa.
My name is Luciana Pratiwi.
My name is Nurfaiz Ramadan.
My name is Rizky Alwi Hermawan.
And my name is Afnan. So we will start from the definition of recount text. So, recount text is a text that telling the reader about one story, action, or activity in time order. Next. Next is social function of recount text. So, recount text is the social function of recount text is to tell past experience for the purpose of informing and entertaining the reader. And the generic structure of recount text is first, orientation. It gives the reader the background information needed to understand the text, such as who was involved, where it happened, and when it happened. And second is event. It gives the reader information about the sequence of events that took place in the order that they happened. And the last is reorientation. Reorientation is a personal comment about the event or tells about what happened in the end.
Next, language feature of recount text. The first one is introducing personal participants, example I, my group. Next is using conjunction, example then, first. Next, using adverb to express time and place, example at the beach, that afternoon. Next is using action verb, and the last one is using simple past tense. Next. Let's analyze a text. Next. Becky was visiting Aunt Agatha at her house at the beach. It was a beautiful summer day. Becky had built a giant sandcastle that morning. Aunt Agatha took picture of the castle to send to Becky's parents. It was a great big sandcastle. Later that morning, Becky and Aunt Agatha went swimming in the ocean. It was fun to jump with the wave. Then, They went in the house and ate sandwich and strawberries for lunch. Becky wanted to play on the beach that afternoon. Aunt Agatha told her it was too hot to go outside without a hat on. Becky didn't have a hat. Aunt Agatha told her not to worry, she could wear one of hers. Becky tried on 4 hats. The pink one was really pretty, but it had a big bow in the back that was too long for Becky. The green hat was too fancy for Becky. She did not like that hat at all. The blue hat was nice, but it had an ugly bird on it. Then Becky saw a big brown hat with a yellow ribbon on it. That hat was made of straw. It was a perfect hat for the beach. It was too big for Becky's head, but she didn't care. It was a great hat. Next.
Now we will look about structure of the text. The first is orientation. Orientation can be found in the first 2 sentences. That is, Becky was sitting on Agatha at her house at the beach. It was a beautiful summer day. First, who is going on Agatha's house at the beach? The answer is Becky. When did she go to on Agatha's house at the beach? At summer day. Where is on Agatha's house located? The located on Agatha's house at the beach. What is going this summer? Visiting on Agatha's house at the beach.
Okay, I want to explain structure text event. The event gives the readers information about activity Becky at the Agatha house, and the event is Becky has built a giant castle that morning. Aunt Agatha took picture of the castle to send to Becky's parents. It was a great big sand castle. Later the morning, Becky and Aunt Agatha went swimming in the ocean. It was fun to jump with the waves. Then they went in the house and ate sandwich and strawberries for lunch. Becky wanted to play on the beach that afternoon. Aunt Agatha told her it was too hot to go outside without a hat on. Becky didn't have a hat. Aunt Agatha told her not to worry. She could wear one of hers. Becky tried on 4 hats. The pink one was really pretty, but it had a big bow in the back that was too long for Becky. The green hat was too fancy for Becky. She did not like that hat at all. The blue hat was nice, but it had an ugly bird on it. Then Becky saw a big brown hat with a yellow ribbon on it. That hat was made of straw.
Okay, the next is reorientation, which tells about what happened in the end. It was a perfect hat for the beach. It was too big for Becky's head, but she didn't care. It was a great hat. So the ending was a happy ending because she found hats that were good for her, even though it was too big for her. Okay, next.
Okay, now we look about language feature of the text. The first is effort of time and place. Number 1, Becky and Aunt Agatha went swimming in the ocean. And then number 2, Becky was visiting Aunt Agatha at her house at the beach.
Conjunction. The first, then they went in the house and ate a sandwich and strawberries for lunch. The second, later that morning, Becky and Aunt Agatha went swimming in the ocean. And the last, then Becky saw a big brown hat with a yellow ribbon on it. Next. Past verb. Verb 2 was would took when tried, and verb 1 is would take would try, and so on can be seen on the screen. Next.
Okay, that's all from us. We hope you get new information from our presentation. Thank you for your kind attention. See you next time, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi guys, welcome to our presentation of Recount text analysis. We are from EIP class B08 from group 5. And these are our members. First, there are Cici Wahyudi, then Indra Surya, Dimas Ari, Farizar Wibawa, Fatima Azahra, and Monica Triana Dewi. Okay, here are the texts that we're going to explain to you all. This text is about the writer that experienced to live with an American family for 2 months. The structure of the text that we have been analyzing is as be shown in the presentation. There are orientation, events, and reorientation. We have changed the color of the paragraph so you all can see the difference.
Okay, I am Indra Surya. I will explain the orientation of the text. Subject of the text is the preacher. The text happened when the preacher was 16 years old. It happened in Boston, United States. The text is about the preacher experience to live with an American family.
I'm Farizar Wibawa, and here I want to explain about the description present simple in the event paragraph. First, I went to Boston to live with an American family for 2 months only. There are life there that are verb 1 that can be the present simple. 2, one of the things I remember quite clearly was my arrival. To start with, I missed the train from New York to Boston. I remember that are verb 1. The third is for 3 days I did not say a word. Now I know that was an unconscious way to get familiar with the English they spoke. There are no there that are verb 1 that can be the present simple. Number 4, there are fortunately after 1 week I felt more confident. I started to speak a little and the people in the house began to understand me. There are speak there that are the verb 1 word that can be the present simple.
I'm Dimas Ari Surya Wicaksana. I will explain about the past tense in the event section. The first one is when I was 16 years old, I went to the United States. Number 2, I went to Boston to live with an American family for 2 months only. Number 3, when I arrived at the family house. Number 4, after 1 week, I feel more confident. Number 5, I missed the train from the New York to Boston. And number 6, I started to speak a little and the people in the house began to understand me.
Hello, my name is Fatima Zahra from class D71. I will explain about the verb 1 of the verb from the event section of recount text. The verb 1 of missed is miss. The verb 1 of arrived is arrive. The verb 1 of lost is lose. The verb 1 of feel is feel. The verb 1 of did is do. The verb 1 of spoke is speak. The verb 1 of started is start. The verb 1 of begin is begin.
Hello, I'm Monica Dewi. I will explain about the temporal conjunction at even part from the text. The first, when I was 16 years old, I went to the United States. I was studying then, and that was the first time I left home. The temporal conjunction is then. The second, for 3 days, I did not say a word. No, I know that was an unconscious way to get familiar with the English they spoke. The temporal conjunction is no. The third, fortunately, after 1 week, I felt more confident. I started to speak a little, and the people in the house began to understand me. The temporal conjunction is after.
Okay, I am Diki Wahyudi. Now I will explain the reorientation of the text in the last paragraph of the text. It is explained that the character feels very interested in the situation in Boston. He also makes new friends who are his old friends. And he also said this experience will be forgotten. So we can conclude that this text has a happy ending.
Okay, that's all from us, Group 5. Thank you for your attention and hope you like it. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.